The next topic is children are better, a common belief, psychological category. So now we will look at this particular belief which says that when it comes to learning a new language, children are better than adults. With regard to this area, we have researches done in the neurosciences as well as oncology, which have actually contributed in the understanding of this common belief. One oncology nurse, Suzanne Robin, has written an article which is Why is it easier for a child to learn a new language than an adult? And she has given a lot of reason for that. Now, according to her, for a child, language learning is basically a part of the brain chemistry, and they are literally built in such a manner to absorb a lot of information. And when they do it, they are not actually conscious of that learning process, and it comes to them very naturally. And since they are not too conscious of the fact, therefore, it becomes easy for them to learn a language. I mean, just to give you an example, if you are listening to a song over and over again for many times, you learn its rhythm and its lyrics, regardless of whether you like it or not, because it's a very unconscious process. But if you are preparing for some test and examination, you are consciously putting in effort. And that's why you are making it very hard for your brain to gather vast information or retain it in a manner that you want. So, therefore, these are some of the reasons that have been given in this article, which you should also be able to search and read in detail. Most people believe that children are better than adults in learning a second language. This seems to be backed up by the common observation that young second language learners seem to pick up another language quickly just by exposure and without teaching. So, if they are not explicitly told or is explicitly explained the rules, they pick it up in a natural manner. And the process is not having explicit exposure, but rather a natural way of acquiring or picking up language. So that is why the belief says that they are better than adult. It is primarily on the basis of this unconscious learning, rather paying specific or particular type of attention being paid to this process. Now we will look at number of factors which are involved in this process. First of all, we have processing differences. There are distinct differences in the way an adult brain processes a foreign language when compared to the brain of a child. So, Dr. Thompson of UCLA used MRI imaging and animation technology to view that what parts of the brain adults and children use when learning a second language. What was found is that children use a part of their brain called the deep motor area. The deep motor area of the brain is responsible for processes that are not consciously thought about, like brushing your teeth or getting dressed. Adults process language in a more active part of the brain, meaning that they are think more consciously about language rather than it being intuitive. Then we have proficiency differences where children acquire a second language quicker than adults. Children have a smaller vocabulary and adults have larger vocabulary, which makes them the process of communication more complex. Then we have pronunciation. Since children are exposed to second language at an early stage, therefore they have a better chance of having or acquiring better pronunciation as compared to adults who have a more difficult time adapting the pronunciation of foreign language and so sound less competent than a child. Then we have aging and learning ability, and it's been seen that the people who are moving towards aging, they have difficulty in terms of learning, as with the people age their ability to learn new skill diminishes. as compared to children. Then we have learning methods which vary among children and adults. That means that children and adults, when they are different, they need to be exposed to different learning techniques and working with groups in order to develop their interaction. We also have two psychological variables, which is motivation and attitude. Motivation for learning a second language, for instance, is not likely to arise in a natural type of setting, such as with young children, because they are not conscious of motivation factor in terms of acquiring a language, such as a child starting from age 1 or 2 years. But older children are conscious of motivation, and therefore they should have positive motivation to acquire a language. Then we have a negative attitude or attitude, which is very important factor. Any kind of attitude, if it is negative, it's going to affect negatively the process, and if it is positive, it's going to affect positively as far as the second language acquisition is concerned. To conclude, in the natural situation of second language learning, young children will do better than adults, with older children doing better than adults too.